Welcome to Sportlobster TV, the show where you set the agenda. Hi, I'm Paul McVeigh and we've got a great lineup for you. Joining me is former Hull and Wigan footballer Jimmy Bullard. We also have former Norwich and Coventry footballer Leon McKenzie and performance consultant Andy Barton. So guys, thanks very much for coming in. Now we've had a question sent in from Joe Mitchell. Very straightforward, very simple. Who's going to go down this season? So I'm guessing that probably is talking about this. It's almost an unprecedented season where the bottom 11 clubs have all been separated by no more than 6 points. So,
yep.
I don't know. Let's start with Jimmy. Throw it over to you.
Yeah,
So,
I've just seen my team, West Ham. I'm a West Ham fan.
Yeah.
So,
of course, where you started your career.
Yeah. I'm born East Ham, so Newham, which was right there, really. Seen a few games this year, but as you say, there's so many teams involved, and I've never seen the league this tight, really. But if you was to ask me 3 teams, I've been a West Ham. I watch West Ham every now and then, and I just struggle watching them.
Well, let's start with West Ham before we go around the rest of the league. Why are West Ham in the predicament they're in?
I just think it's a number of things, you know. They've had a lot of injuries. A lot of the players they've brought to the club wouldn't have been my first choice, and I just think they're struggling.
Who are you talking about?
I don't like to name names, Paul.
Well, to be fair, most of the West Ham players, the fans are all pinning their hopes on Andy Carroll.
Yeah, well, there's a desperation there, especially like striker-wise. You even sending Carlton Cole out and then bringing him back.
He's actually done all right for them, hasn't he?
He has done all right.
He's scored a few goals for them.
But that's a big statement in itself when you're having to sort of bring him back to say, can you help us out? Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a kick in the teeth in that respect. But I think goal scoring-wise, I don't think Andy Carroll's actually going to find that finishing touch either.
West Ham, I mean, they've always been a club that said you like your ticket sellers, your Di Canios, your players like that. You get what I mean? They're like top players. But if you just ask me that, you'd go and, but if you're a neutral fan, you'd go and watch West Ham, middle of London, and go and watch a game of football and watch these quality entertainers. But they've got no one there for me. I'd go and watch and take my boy to go and watch a game of football. So I just think
there's a
struggling.
problem also. If you put all your belief in Andy Carroll coming back, it's not saying very much to the rest of the team.
No,
well, I was going to say, how does that affect the rest of the players? Are they going, listen, guys, you're a bit rubbish, but whenever we get Andy back, we're going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, it happens quite a lot. You build up this expectancy. Also puts pressure on the player himself. So it can actually cause more problems.
It's difficult as well because he's coming back from injuries, had a few injury problems. He's never going to be 100% anyway. Yeah. So the expectancy is higher than it should be.
What about your old team, my old team, Leon, Norwich? They're obviously struggling. There's a lot of pressure on Chris Hughton. You know, the fans don't seem to have him. Think he's too defensive.
Well, I went to watch the game against Hull on Saturday, and they played okay, but it could have gone the other way. First 5 minutes, Hull could have been 2-0 up. Do you know what I mean? And they're just not. You can tell.
But do you think they have enough? Do you think they have enough to stay in the league? Oh, I'll take that silence as a no.
Do you know what? It's hard. It's a hard one to call because I quite liked Hooper. I liked the way he was moving. I liked what he was trying to do and get into the game. But I think the other boy, the Wolf.
Yeah, Van Rooswinkel.
Maybe needs to do a little bit more. In regards, he's come there for was it 8 million.
Yeah,
that's a big buy for Norwich. Yep. So you would think the expectancy of someone of that amount of money to be coming in would probably try and.
I think the stat is he's had 4 shots on target all season.
Yeah, this is really. And for me, that's just like I think it's probably not that I'm trying to dig him out.
Man City keepers had more than that.
Okay, well, Jimmy said it all. Jimmy took the words right out of my mouth. If he's going to go there now, we're just.
Andy, how do you think that is? How do you think from your sort of performance consultancy role? How do you think it would be to affect the players? Because I'll ask these boys in a minute from a playing perspective. What it's like to be out on those pitch, knowing you're in a relegation battle. But what's it like? Do you think from a psychological point of view?
It really depends where your focus is. I mean, the main problems are for the teams that are kind of plummeting. So I mean, actually, Jimmy's old team, Fulham, are kind of they're on a downward trajectory.
Told her not to sell me.
You need you back, yeah. Cardiff as well, I mean, and there's a lot going on at Cardiff. Whether the fans are going to start backing them. You know, they're changing the shirts, they're changing the manager. You know,
their owners and
the owners. Yeah, exactly. You know, all these things are going to have an influence. So it's going to be the teams that get some kind of momentum going, and you only really have to start small. You know, the odd draw here will kind of.
I suppose momentum. It's Palace at the minute, isn't it? Under Tony Pulis, your old team, Leon, there suddenly gone from bottom and didn't look like they could bow in. And
so I watched them against Norwich as well. I think Norwich won that game, didn't they? Did they win that game?
I think Palace might have won. But anyway, it was a couple of weeks ago.
Can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a draw.
They've got a bit about them. They've got 2 good wingers, and I do believe, I think they're gonna be all right.
Okay, Jimmy, what about your another one? How many old teams do you have? Another one of your old team, Hull.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce, of course, he's only been promoted this season, so the fact that they're somewhere around 10th, 11th at the minute, he's doing a good job anyway.
Bought another couple, haven't they?
They've just bought Shane Long and Jalovic.
They're in 11th. I've just got the league here. They're 11th. I'm just going to say, though, from Villa, number 10th position, you wouldn't bet on any of them going down. Yeah. I think they've all got a chance of going down.
Yeah.
Do you know
there's only 6 points, isn't there, from the bottom point all the way up to Villa.
But Hull City, they're the team, for me, they've got a big backing of the chairman there, the Egyptian family. They've got a lot of money. I know that for a fact, and they just spent 40 million quid.
I think Long's a good buy.
Yeah.
You think he's enough? You think he's going to score the goals for Hull?
But I think he'll bring something because he's got work. He's got work rate, and he gets in behind, and nice. He's quite cute in what he does. So I think it's quite a clever buy.
I mean, there can be a danger if you're at the top of those 6 points
big
ahead.
Support as well.
Is that you kind of feel you're in a safe position when you're 10th.
Yeah.
And that can cause problems as well. It's about pushing to through the line, keeping it going.
And I suppose then maybe someone like a Mark Hughes Stoke, who's probably got one of the hardest jobs of turning from an old Tony Pulis team where it was literally kick and rush to trying to get them playing again. But he's brought in some decent players like Stephen Ireland and trying to change, getting the ball back into Crouchy's feet rather than in his head.
No, exactly right. It's totally different. It's quite strange, that, isn't it? Mark Hughes, he's bringing in players that want to play, but Tony Pulis has, over the years, just got players that are, the long ball game, which everyone knows, and get men in the box and play totally a different way and played the percentage way if you want. But then bring someone in like Mark Hughes who plays totally different way.
What about in terms of being in the changing room? How many times, I'm guessing between you've been relegated, how many times, lads? Couple of times.
I wasn't playing when I got relegated.
Is that called passing the buck?
I've never actually been on the...
that's called passing the buck.
I've never been on the pitch when we've been relegated.
Okay, all right.
I've been in the team.
What's it like then, going out onto those games, almost knowing you have to win this game?
Horrible.
Fear, yeah.
It's horrible.
Biggest fit, you're in for a dogfight before you put your boots on, and sometimes when the crowd's going to come on top, it ain't a nice feeling. You like to entertain and play football when it's going well, but the hardest and the best players always come forward when they're under pressure and the crowd's on top and you're 1-0 down and you've got 10 minutes to go, and someone does a bit of magic for you. They're your players. Yeah. I suppose we both agree, we all agree, we've all been out there when the times are tough and it's hard out there, and all of a sudden you give it to a player and he does a bit of magic, you're like...
It's how you use the energy, isn't it? The energy from the fear. If you use it as a positive and he gives you that kind of...
It's so difficult. It's so difficult. It's so easy. Looking, I've been there. I've been involved in a game when it's tough going, and I've been injured and watching it. And you just think, do this, do that, but it's hard when you're out there. It is. You've got to take it on yourself. You've got to sometimes conquer your own fears.
You've got to stay in the moment as well.
Exactly right,
if you're thinking about scores and things like that, you can't be in the zone.
Exactly
that's the thing.
I mean, when it went down to our last game for Norwich, that relegation game.
This is relegated in 04-05.
That's correct.
Going into the last game against
Fulham.
Yeah.
I mean, when the first goal went in, I mean, even myself, I was like, oh no.
Well, a bit like Jimmy, I wasn't actually in the dressing room, but struggle. I knew. Just there beforehand.
He's jumped ship as well.
Yeah, no, I was just like, I just knew then was going to struggle, and you sort of look around and you think, I was looking beside him, I think, I think Dino's got one in him. Dean Ashton's got one in him, definitely. He's got that. Yeah, I know we were going to do something. And then another one, and then another one, and then I just lost my head.
And it's horrible feeling.
I suppose, Andy, that's sort of, Leon says, he just hit the nail on the head when he just said, I lost my head. And I'm guessing, probably most of these teams are pretty much around the same level, and I'm guessing the ones that have the sort of best attitude, strongest mental approach is
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
be
even if you
factor.
take the top players and the people at the lower end of the table, there isn't huge amounts of difference in terms of skill and fitness. It's beyond to apply the mental side.
There is.
Well,
there's a vast amount of skill.
but in terms of in degrees, it's the mental side that really is be able to do things, repeat them time and time again over a period of 90 minutes or plus, you know, and that's a thing. That's what really makes someone be able to dig in at the right time.
Okay, well, Jimmy, put you on the spot then. Give me your 3 teams. Who do you think?
I think Cardiff are down.
Cardiff, okay.
Yeah, I think Cardiff are definitely down. And then if I'm looking at it there, I hate to say it, but West Ham, I think they're going to struggle.
Okay, one more.
And I look at Fulham's team, and on paper they look so strong.
They should, no way should be in this position.
But I just think they're going to struggle. I think it's them 3.
Okay,
I
good.
think Sunderland, I think they come out.
Andy, give us your 3. Who you think they're?
I mean, I'd agree. I think Fulham and Cardiff, the way they are at the moment, the other one, it could be possibly West Brom.
Okay, West Brom, that's on. And Leon, finishes up here.
I'm gonna go West Ham, Stoke, and Cardiff.
Okay, brilliant. Well, we'd love to hear from you. Who do you think is going to go down? Here's how to get in touch. Go to sportlobster.com/sportlobster TV and leave the 3 teams who you think are going to go down. Boys, thanks very much for coming in. Really, really appreciate it. Well, that's all we have time for, and we'll see you again on Sportlobster TV.